Hi, this is a response to How to Fold Soup. And by the way, I don't want to pick any fights with you. I have to like you. I don't pick fights. I'm really happy that you answered my video. It's just very hard to put a 30-year span into a 10-minute video. You know, somebody has said to me, you know, continue the conversation. They wanted to know more, and I probably will. And you really brought up some very interesting points. So because it was a 10-minute video, it's very difficult to really weed out, you know, individual events. So more or less, I sort of like covered 30 years in a quick way. So let me just answer some of the things that you said. By the way, I loved your illustration in the beginning of your video, you know, of all those birds, you know, with holding those babies. And yes, that's exactly how it happened. There was a huge baby population explosion. No question about it. The civil rights movements that you had mentioned, and that had started during the 50s. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And absolutely, these civil rights movements started way before the 50s, actually. Women's rights started back in the 20s, actually in the late 1800s. Absolutely. No question. What happened was with us, when we came into our, when we left our formative years and we started to realize what certain inequities that we felt that were wrong, we had an enormous large base in which to protest, get to our government representative, and really tried to get some changes done, and we really did. The Rosa Parks situation was an example. We found a major inequity in you know, what was going on with her and with civil rights. We took that up as our banner. Civil rights was just plain wrong, and yes, we were the ones who decided that we're going to address all of these things, and because we were very strong in number, we were going to bring it out and defend it and try to get some changes made. I'm not saying that we started all this stuff. I'm saying that we came along at a time when these things were being discussed anyway for many years, sometimes some of it over 100 years. And we just decided enough was enough. Let's get this stuff passed and let's get this stuff taken care of. And I really believe we did. You said something about Madonna and her lucky star. I never mentioned lucky star. I just gave you a list of some of the people that were born during our generation. I think you got the wrong idea. I didn't mean that just during our generation these things occurred. What I was saying is our generation took up the fight of things that happened before us, and then really tried to make them, bring them to fruition. And I think that we did a lot of that. The civil rights movement began way before Rosa Parks in so many ways. But because we were here, and because we actually spoke out, and we're not afraid of being put down, literally not afraid of being put down, we were able to make a lot of change in this country. Rock and roll. It did come from the 50s. Actually, it came from the 40s. I mean, if you really want to look at it that way. Rock and roll was more or less a mantra for us, and I think it's still continued and it's still here. Rock and roll was more or less a tag, I guess you can put on us. We were defined by rock and roll, and a lot of the music that came out of our generation really spoke to what we believed in. So, yeah, you know, rock and roll was important to us because we spoke about our life and what we believed in, and the political inequities that we saw. So that came out in our music. So yes, rock and roll was very much a big part of our generation. And Woodward and Bernstein. Now, you're absolutely right. Woodward and Bernstein really became our voice in so many ways. We, those two guys were baby boomers anyway, but forget about that. They're the ones who really decided that they were going to become investigative journalists and expose the Nixon administration. We applauded them because literally they had death threats against them. I don't remember a time, maybe I do, maybe it was Edward R. Murrow earlier in time who were strong enough and brave enough to point out inequities in our country, and they did it. Woodward and Bernstein was a major part of our generation. JFK, Martin Luther King, and Robert Kennedy, yes, they were born in the 20s. However, in the 20s, they weren't really speaking up yet. They were older than us, yet the things that they had to say spoke to how we felt. So maybe that will make you understand that we took up what they were saying because what they were saying we believed in. We did have the luck of being born at the right time. You're absolutely right. And because we were born during that time, we were able to, institute change. And it is all luck. I agree with you there. But it's a good thing that it happened. I think it would have happened anyway. And the fact that our guys came home from World War II and had lots of babies, and here we are, and decided that we wanted to change things was, I think, a good thing. You talk about Bush, Rove being cocksuckers, and they are part of our generation, and you're right. I have not really touched the surface of how I felt about our generation yet. I just kind of put out a video introducing it. You're right. I never said that anybody in our generation was 100% right or non-corrupt. There's plenty of corruption. George Bush, for instance, is a baby boomer. So this is just a callback to you to let you know that I definitely understand what you're telling me, and I definitely believe what you're saying to me. What I'm telling you is that we came at a time in history where we were able to see all of the things that came before us and then bring it all together and bring it to the fore so that we could institute the changes. And we really did institute changes. And I really believe that the reason why our guys today who are coming back from Iraq and they are being treated with respect and honor by all of us, because I love our guys, really comes out of, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, is how our men came back from the Vietnam War. They were, when they came back from the Vietnam War, they were ignored. They were, stones were thrown at them. They were treated like animals. And I think that's a lesson we learned after the Vietnam War, not to treat our soldiers and our men as though they were second-class citizens, because those guys that fought during the Vietnam War just followed orders. Now they came back to a country that did not accept them. That was very wrong. And today we have our men coming back from Iraq as heroes, and that's the way it should be. So I really do think that we changed things. I love the fact that you answered my video, and I would love to continue this conversation, and I would love to hear more of your opinions. Okay. In the meantime, you take care, and thanks so much for making this opinion piece for me. Bye.